very good afternoon, everyone. My name is Vincent. I'm representing Malaysia, and it's my honor, and I'm very grateful to be selected by our Malaysia Investment Development Authority as one of the company, or the company that's going to be presenting and sharing today. Well, in Malaysia, we have actually really ongoing, embarking a lot of growth and development and a lot of iconic projects. But this time around, I guess MIDA, under our MITI ministry, has chosen us to share something that's a bit palatable. Okay, so what we are building over here is actually, what you're seeing is actually the perspectives of what this development is going to be. It's 11 hectares, about 26.5 acres of land in KL, Kuala Lumpur, not in any other states, all right? So we are actually, this township itself is actually one of the nearest, or the nearest, location in terms of proximity as well as in terms of driving distance from our Kuala Lumpur International Airport. And yes, what we are building over here is a 360 integrated ecosystem of healthcare and wellness. A lot of doctors and medicals, pharmaceutical groups from overseas and in Malaysia, when they come over to our gallery, which we built a very massive, impressive gallery itself, readily at Bukit Jalil in Kuala Lumpur, they actually call and say that, Vincent, you're actually building a medical city. No, I say, no, we are doing a wellness city itself. So it's actually from pre-touring and post-treatments and medical, and etc. all that. So let me very quickly point out that in this perspectives over here, there are several buildings, and if you see the high rise, it's about 40 over story. Okay? Now, very quickly, a quick facts about Malaysia. Didn't have much chance to share, but our population is rather small. It's only about 32.9 million. And we're pleased that under our Prime Minister, we have actually slowly climbed and moved out on our GDP per capita, US about $11,950. And trade connectivity about 12 position, second in Southeast Asia, and ease in doing business, second in ASEAN. And competitiveness in one of the latest reports, also second in ASEAN. And that makes us quite proud that we are quite a nice people, all right? And definitely moving forward, if you look at some of the data on behalf of our very stable government right now in Malaysia, we have progressed tremendously from since 2018, 2019, 2020, despite COVID, etc. In 2022, our real GDP growth is charted at 8.7% with a per capita income of $11,950 I mentioned. And steadily, we have crossed the 100 billion US dollar for our reserves. Okay, moving forward, this is what a lot of our panelists and speakers have been sharing today. And yes, I'm pleased that ASEAN within this Southeast Asia itself is the fastest growing economic region in the world. Now, let's look at Malaysia. Malaysia healthcare. When I spoke earlier, I managed to catch our Indonesia's Minister of Health when I mentioned that I'm building a healthcare city, a wellness city itself. We are in healthcare, we run hospitals, we own, and we're going to do all this. And you say, wow, yes, you know, you're a little bit different, and perhaps you use that better than Indonesia. Well, I could only say that, yes, more than 67% of medical tourists that comes to Malaysia are actually Indonesians, okay? Now, so the Malaysian healthcare expenditure in Malaysia was valued at about USD 14.3 billion and expected to grow to 90 billion ringgit. That's about close to 20 billion US dollar by 2026 with a CAGR of 6.2% growth. Now, interestingly, when we look at the Malaysia Healthcare Travel Council, Tourism Council, forecast the revenue received from Malaysia's medical tourism. Now, medical tourism is quite unique in Malaysia. We are extremely proud. Why do I say that? Well, generally speaking, in the public hospital and private hospitals in Singapore, generally more than 40% of the specialist doctors themselves are actually Malaysians or ex-Malaysians, eventually become Singaporeans. The level of medical health care and the doctors, the specialists, and the equipment itself in Malaysia is pretty good. It's quite all right, okay? That also makes sense why year after year we are keeping on increasing, getting lots of medical tourists, not just from China, Singapore, and the other countries, but primarily from Indonesia, going to Penang, Malacca, and also Kuala Lumpur itself. Moving forward, I'll be a bit chasing of time because I really put a lot of things over here. Internationally and globally and regionally, there's a lot of healthcare groups and investment fund house that comes to Malaysia and keep on acquiring. Recently, there's such a big surge in the last 24 months. the Singaporeans are really coming in whatever ways to try to take over and buy a lot of stakes in our hospital groups in Malaysia itself. And this, a lot of reports have been sharing about that. And I would just like to share that it is unique that in medical tourism for Malaysia itself, what we have embarked on in this case, where I'm representing KL Wellness City as the company director, the shareholders in KL Wellness Cities are primarily medical doctors. All right? So it's a city that's built by doctors for doctors itself. In KL Wellness City itself, where it's actually an integrated city, I'll show a little bit more info about that, and I'd like the video speaks on my behalf itself. It's actually, when we started drawing this whole city itself, we actually follow the definition of this, we call it the Global Wellness Institute's Wellness Real Estate. It's a carefully master plan, carefully designed right from the start. The 26.5 acres integrates together physically and in terms of infrastructure and the services, the soft skill, the softwares itself. And yes, we are a hospital group, we are a healthcare group, we manage and run our group of hospitals itself. Okay, moving on, a little bit quick milestone. Well, the company was an SPV that was set up because all this while in the whole Malaysia, we'll be owning and building hospitals, and one of our last hospitals, we actually, in Malaysia, we sold it off to a Singaporean group. It got listed, it's called Tropicana Medical Center, and then we sold it to Mr. Peter Lim of Singapore, and he renamed it to Thomson Hospital. Moving forward, we've been looking high and low and searching high and low for a big sizable land for us to have a lot of components, and eventually we found one at Bukit Jalil, which is exactly just a couple of minutes, less than 10 minutes or 5 minutes away from where? From KL Sports City, where all the stadiums and the concerts and the stadiums are indoor and outdoor. And fast forward, pandemic was a great year for us, quote unquote, because it is where the Malaysian government realized that all this while, it is where they have been controlling and so carefully, strictly control the issuance of private hospital license in Malaysia. Finally, they realized they need good, strong hospital groups to continue to develop and catapult Malaysia's healthcare growth itself. So eventually, we started construction, and as of today, in September 2023, in this whole city, one of the components is the International Tertiary Hospital. We have started the construction more than a year. All right, so we are finishing with the earthwork and piling, and I'll show an update in a little while. Now, a quick one. Over here, a bit distance, to give it an idea, we are sandwiched between two airports. If you fly to Malaysia, there's a Subang Airport. Subang Airport is our old airport, but it does serve and flies to Singapore. All right, so we are about like 18 kilometers away. That's about like 30 minutes of driving distance. From Kuala Lumpur International Airport, that's about 45 to 50 kilometers away, a very comfortable 40 minutes drive away. All right, and yes, we are also about 20 odd minutes from KL, Kuala Lumpur, the Twin Tower, Petronas Twin Tower. Now, in Kuala Lumpur Structural Plan 2020, why we decided not to park our project outskirt, move it 50, 100 or 150 kilometers away from the city center. And why do we still maintain our position in the capital city of the Malaysia itself? Because everything in Malaysia happens in Kuala Lumpur. You can be the best, the biggest in Penang, the biggest and best in Sabah. Eventually, everyone moves, and migration-wise, everyone and locally and for foreigners will go to Kuala Lumpur. And coincidentally, our land, when we start embarking and choosing this spot itself, in the Kuala Lumpur Structural Plan itself, we are located within the international zone. Okay, just a quick overview picture. Now, the plot of design, bear with me on this design. What is in this city, briefly, there will be assisted living, residence and tower. There's none in whole Malaysia. There are several thousand units of carefully designed retirement resorts. Senior living, I'm using the terminology of Ministry of Health in Malaysia. And it's integrated. There are hundreds of medical clinics that doctors can privately own, just like doctors in Singapore, Hong Kong, or Australia. But in Malaysia, specialist doctors don't get a chance to own the clinics. So they can't build business legacy and move on and go for IPO and growth and all that. But we are changing the game. We are changing the industry. The doctors, our shareholders, are now doing it for the doctors of whole entire Malaysia itself. And of course, moving on, there'll be a lot of doctors from the other regions that will be coming over as well. I'm going to play a quick manifesto video so that you have a little bit understanding what was inside the mind of our shareholders, who are all doctors. Remember, they are not businessmen. They are real specialist doctors who are building this 11 hectares of project in Kuala Lumpur.
Imagine a city dedicated to healthcare and wellness, where healthy living as we know it is reborn in a new light. This is KL Wellness City. Located in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, a nation with a rapidly growing medical tourism sector, and now home to the first healthcare and wellness city in Southeast Asia. An international tertiary hospital with centers of excellence and frontier technologies. It's where a network of diverse wellness specialists converge and collaborate as a wellness community, enhanced by information technology and data analytics. Flanked by luxurious wellness suites and service apartments. With direct access to a 24-hour concierge for nursing and medical services, making it an ideal place to be a home, away from home, for both those who seek the calm and those with an active lifestyle. MSC Status Business Suites that will further enhance and elevate your businesses. Located in the rapidly flourishing and highly accessible Bukit Jalil, making it easy to get to and irresistibly hard to leave. This is KL Wellness City. Here's to new beginnings. Here's to wellness.
Okay, so that's a quick introduction of the video about this project. Now, of course, Malaysia's healthcare, we have a couple of advantages here. Affordability, world-class facilities, accessibility, global halal hub, tourist haven. Also, there's a couple of points that a lot of few countries share that. And recently, we have been approached also under the President Jokowi's efforts of trying to position Sanur itself, and we will be one of the key players that will contribute. And why? Because we are world ranking in our medical setups and centers and all that, and we will support also this effort. Now, moving on, so what is there am I pitching today? The international hospital that we're building is only 1,000 beds. Private international hospital in Malaysia. 1,000 beds is not big, it's not large, but it's double the second largest top big hospital in Malaysia, private hospital. We will have 22 operating theaters. That's like taking the top 2 and top 3 hospitals, private add together, the operating theaters, and you have like 22, which we are building and have a capacity of 22. In this city, the difference is over here. So we are breaking into 2 phases. So we're keeping the cost low and carefully designed with no luxury like having a government-linked companies or control companies and having the kind of luxury of building like have an unlimited pocket of expenditure itself. So we're very careful in an entire investment. In total, it's about 1,000 beds that we're building, opening and hospital completion targeted at 2025, opening in 2026. What's the fund requirement here? The fund requirement is simplified. It's a mere 20% stake in the international hospital, a 20% stake for only approximately $48 million US. That's about it. Okay, so I'm not here talking about economic zone. I'm not here talking about big infrastructure project with 00, 000, 7 zeros or behind the millions and all that. Only a very simple 20% stake. And this is the only way where foreigners and partners, if you are out of Malaysia, that's a good way to come into a private healthcare, a private hospital group to be our strategic actual shareholders itself. So I'm just giving a quick brief and overview itself. Of course, I've prepared the deck. It's a little bit more than enough. Yes, conservatively, the hospital, once operational in 2026, we are targeting for an IPO exit in 2031. So we have a very clear-cut plan administered and planned by KPMG itself, with an IRR of exit about 28% of return, okay? Upon the potential investment return equity IRR about 28% in the year 2031. I'll touch on more to that when you get in touch with me, but that's to give you a little bit idea. The ticket size, the percentage of your dilution, we are talking about actual investment, be our actual shareholders, be on the board, and grow the country and grow the hospital development with us. Of course, in this, I would like to say also, Malaysian market itself, it's a hospital that's going to be targeting on medical tourism, but Apart from that, yes, Malaysians we have to take care. Yes, we have a good population, but we have relatively a lower beds per 1,000 population in Malaysia, currently standing at 1.9. WHO recommended 3.8 beds per population. That still means that for Malaysia ourselves, Malaysians, we are still short of beds. We're still short of beds, all right? And in the past 10 years itself, Malaysian government is not really building a lot of public hospitals itself. So this is where our private hospitals play a big role over here. And competition risks and etc. I think a lot of people mentioned that. I just want to do a quick survey, but almost every Indonesian friends I met, they say, have you got any friends or relatives that have gone to Malaysia for their medical treatments or etc.? Almost 80% would say yes, someone somehow has gone there for IVF, someone somehow has gone there for cardiac, someone somehow has said, oh yeah, my past president also went to Malaysia for your treatment. All right, so that's a little bit about background about that. I'm going to touch on to this. This is a quick view. The hospital is 12-story high. There's a link bridge to the commercial hub. It's called the Nobel Healthcare Park. It's a bit unique because it's where we bring in all the doctors. See, a lot of doctors in Malaysia are already established in many, many hospitals. The only way is actually give them the ownership, support them. And of course, the equipments that we're putting in, most of the equipments they're putting in will be among the first in Southeast Asia, the medical equipments in the OT, etc. And we are proud and pleased to say that even from Malaysia government, we have got our benefit and supported and granted by the investment tax allowance that helps us a lot, tons of it. And that I'm very thankful for the ministry itself. Moving on, that's a quick outlook of the how hospital looks like. It's going to be something a little bit like 6-star. A lot of people are going to say it's good, but this is, of course, my version 1. We are now already version 7, because imagine I'm already constructing already the hospital. So as of today, what's the risk level? No longer talking about an empty piece of land to build. We are talking as of today. If you stand at Bukit Jalil, Kuala Lumpur, you are seeing the actual construction of the hospital, which has progressed more than 30%. Of course, the hospital in Malaysia, you cannot progress unless you got all the approvals. Okay, a very quick one. And moving on, yes, Malaysia, the country aspires to position Malaysia as best Malaysia healthcare travel experience by 2025. That augurs well because we are positioning for our opening in 2026. And in this township itself, may I offer you and explain to you, we are actually positioning and building several hospitals in our township itself. It's going to be a group of hospitals here. It will include also cancer hospitals, oncology centers, and several other medical centers and hospitals. This is a medical play. This is a healthcare play. This is a concrete, actual plan of planted in the capital city of Malaysia itself. And we are already in track in progressing in construction. With that, yeah, of course, recently, we got a little bit of a very nice award regionally, a recognition of winner of Best Mixed Use Development Asia by Property Guru, winner of Consumer Game Changer. All right, the Malaysia winners, we go and compete in Thailand, and then we amongst the other 7 to 11 countries, and then we have got this small accolade. With that, my final animation video, just to wrap it up, and this is how we're going to build it. And we are not going to build it as a hospital group. We are not going to build it ourselves. We have several development and strategic partners that's going embarking and undertaking this 26.5 acres project in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. And welcome to join us after the video. Just have a QR code. You can feel free to scan. Thank you.